I'm going to go ahead and say something controversial. The perfect cat litter doesn't exist. There are always trade-offs. Let me explain. Most cats prefer clumping clay litter, but clay is heavy, it's dusty, it tracks all over the house, and most clay litter is not eco-friendly. Grass and coconut litter are lightweight, but their tracking is worse than clay. Wood litter has excellent odor control, but some cats don't like the scent. Pellets perform better in terms of low dust and low tracking, but many cats are turned off by the texture, and most pellet litters are non-clumping. Silica gel litter has a finer texture, but it's expensive and not eco-friendly. The best litter is a compromise between the cat's preferences and the features you prioritize.
If you don't know your cat's preferences, there's been research done, so you can use what most cats prefer as a starting point. An uncovered box with a low entry, high sides if you want, but make sure the cat can see over or through them. Bigger is better. It helps to ensure that there will be clean surface area available. Place it in a quiet area that's easy for the cat to get to without going up and down stairs or going through another pet's core territory. There should be good visibility of the surroundings from wherever you place the litter box. Make sure there's enough litter boxes in separate areas. For litter, use clumping clay or similar texture. Ideally, scoop the litter box at least twice a day. Clean out the litter box fully about once a month. Avoid using any harsh chemicals or cleaners with strong scent. I recommend using dish soap. For foster homes and shelters, you can use a specialty cleaner such as Rescue. If you're using a plastic litter box, over time it can get scratches in the bottom, and the scratches harbor bacteria which make the litter box gross and smelly. When you see a bunch of visible scratches on the bottom of the litter box, it's time to buy a new one to replace it. Here are some things that are best avoided. A litter robot is noisy and scary. They can be very intimidating for cats. A top entry litter box. These are convenient because they contain the litter and keep it from scattering. The problem is, if you have multiple pets in your home, one pet might trap another inside the litter box, and then when they come out, they get pounced on. That could be a scary experience. It's also not accessible for larger cats and cats with arthritis. It would be very uncomfortable, if not impossible, for them to get into the box, and we want to set them up for success. Don't train your cat to use the toilet. It's an accident waiting to happen. If the cat has a bad experience with the litter box or with the toilet, then they're going to avoid using it in the future and find another place to go to the bathroom. Don't place the litter box in the back of a closet. This is another area that has a lot of ambush potential, especially if you have multiple pets in the home. One cat could get trapped inside the litter box with another pet blocking their escape. This can worsen tension between pets. I also don't recommend chunky litter or litter box liners. The issue with chunky litter is it's uncomfortable for cats to step on, and it's also not the kind of texture that they're naturally going to be used to, so it could be a very tough transition. Litter box liners sound like a good idea because they're going to contain the mess, but what ends up happening is cats' claws will snag the litter box liner and pee will leak down underneath, which actually makes a bigger mess than if you didn't use liners to begin with. Scented litter is best avoided. While the fragrance might smell fresh and sweet for us humans, cats have very sensitive noses, and the fragrance can be very overwhelming for them. Not to mention the combination of perfume and cat poo is not a really pleasant smell.
So that doesn't mean these things never work. Like, you might be saying, I use XYZ and my cat has never had a problem. That's great. Every cat's an individual. This is just a starting point, so if you're having issues, you know what to check. Keep in mind that there's a difference between liking something and tolerating it. You might tolerate something until too much stress builds up, and then it's the last straw. I don't necessarily like outhouses, but I will use them when I go camping. Just because your cat will use the litter box doesn't mean that it's necessarily meeting all of their needs, or that it's what they prefer. If you want to find out what kind of litter your cats prefer, you can set up a preference test. To start, don't change the setup your cat is already using, as that may cause stress. When cats are stressed, they may avoid using the litter box, which is the last thing you want. What we want to do is add another litter box alongside it. For a fair comparison, we want to change only one thing at a time.
To test for location preference, Use boxes that are the same type, with the same kind of litter, and place them in different parts of the room.
They should all have good visibility so the cat can see their surroundings and know they aren't going to be ambushed.
The type of litter box can be important too. Once you figure out your cat's preferred location, you can test which type of box they prefer. Size can be an important consideration. Generally speaking, bigger is better. We want to give the cat enough room to easily turn around inside the litter box so that when they squat to go to the bathroom, they're not going to go over the edge of the box, like trying to use an airplane bathroom. Another reason for having a larger litter box is it ensures that there's always going to be clean surface area available for the cat to use. Now, that's not an excuse for not scooping the litter box. To do a litter preference test, get another box, or two, the same as the one you have, and place them next to the existing box. In the long run, litter boxes should be provided in separate areas. This is just for testing. Put a different kind of litter in the new box. Maintain the same depth of litter in all of the boxes. If you want to try a different kind of litter, but after several days the cats haven't given it a chance, try blending 25% of the new litter with 75% of the litter they're using. If the litter has a similar texture, you can go 50-50. You can even seed the new box with a few clumps of used litter. Whether you're testing location, litter box style, or type of litter, scoop both boxes twice a day. Scooping less often makes it hard to see which litter box the cats prefer. They may or may not end up using the less preferred litter box if they're desperate.
Make sure to run the experiment over several days. Don't cut it short. Sometimes it seems like there's a preference initially, but usage levels off over time. Other times, the cat will try the new litter for the first day or two, but then decide they don't like it as much.
Record how many clumps you scoop out of the box each time and tally them up like this. If you're not using clumping litter, count each area of pee or poo as one tally mark. It's important to scoop the box at least twice a day. Cats usually pee several times a day and poop once or twice a day. Cats like to use a fresh surface each time they go to the bathroom, so it's important to keep up on scooping. I'm a statistics teacher, and I've done the math. When you're testing two things, we can use what's called a one proportion z-test to see if there's a significant preference for one thing or the other. In order to use the one proportion z-test, we need to have at least 20 tally marks total. While 3 out of 5 is a majority, 3 is not that different from 2, so it's not necessarily meaningful. That's why we need to have more tally marks total. If one kind of litter has at least 15 out of 20 tally marks, 75% or more, then that preference is what we call statistically significant. What that means is it's probably not a coincidence. The cat really does prefer that litter. The percentage doesn't have to be that high if the total number of tally marks is greater, but for our purposes, we're not concerned with publishing statistically significant findings that can be applied to all cats. We're looking to see if an individual cat has a clear preference. If you're testing 3 things, we can use what's called a chi-square goodness of fit test. In that case, you'd want to have at least 15 tally marks total. If one of the things gets 0 uses out of 15, then that one is not preferred. If one of the things gets 10 or more uses out of 15, 2/3 or more, then that one is preferred. If the cats use multiple boxes regularly, even if they have a clear preference for a certain type of litter, they would probably appreciate having more than one box in that area. It's not unusual for cats to pee and poo in separate boxes. That might seem strange at first, but think about the way it feels to walk across freshly fallen snow. Or think about whether or not you would use an unflushed toilet. If the cats only use one box, you can remove the other boxes when you're done with the experiment. I did a whole series of experiments with my cats to determine what types of litter they like best. I also ranked the different types of litter based on features like tracking and odor control and how eco-friendly they are. You can find all this information in a blog post on my website at fellowcreaturespets.com, or you can read the article in the Pet Professional Guild's Pets and Their People online blog. If you want to learn more about how to set up a litter box that will meet your cat's needs in a way that's most acceptable for everyone in the home, you can learn more in my online class coming soon, or reach out to a qualified cat behavior professional. Cat behavior consultants are well equipped to help you troubleshoot litter box challenges. You can find them in the PPG or IAABC directory or ask your vet for a recommendation. Thanks for watching!